how to get your emails out of spam and go from $0 to $30,000 a month in email revenue. So in this guide, I'm going to be talking about one of the most often overlooked aspects of email marketing, which is email deliverability. And this one is absolutely crucial if you want to reach even average, let alone exceptional results with your email marketing. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing you a real life example from one of our clients from the point of before fixing their deliverability versus after we had fixed it. So basically, here you can see the before metrics before we started working with them. The open rates are 5%, click rates are like this, bounce rates, unsubscribe rates, spam complaint rates, really, really high. Like the benchmark here for this, for example, is like 0.03 or 0.01 even. And then for this one, it's like 40% at least. And they're like really, really bad at the moment here before we have started with them. Also, the attributed revenue in this case was only $34 in the whole 30 days before working with. And then afterwards, we had taken their open rates to 53.5. Click rates like this, bounce rates also decreased to the healthy levels. These two are still a little bit high because we are doing this engagement process that I'm going to be explaining to you soon, but they are still much, much healthier. For example, spam complaint rate is 10x lower than it was at the starting point. And then once we had fixed the deliverability, fixed the open rates, we had gone to actually $30,000 a month in email revenue compared to only these $34 at the start. So yeah, this is a pretty crazy difference. And this shows you really well the importance of deliverability. And I'm going to be explaining to you everything you need to know about it in this video. So with low email deliverability and domain reputation, most of your emails will land in the email jail, aka the spam folder, causing them to get seen by close to no one. And if you're currently experiencing deliverability issues, I'm glad you're here, because in this guide, I'm going to be talking about everything you need to rewarm your damaged email domain reputation and get out from the email spam folder. So let's get into the actual case study and into the steps that we took to make this happen. So starting point, our client had a huge list of old email profiles in Klaviyo. The list had never been cleaned and the best practices of list hygiene had been neglected completely. So this had totally destroyed their email deliverability so badly that every single email we sent landed straight into spam. And here you can see some of the numbers of the starting point. So they had 180,000 Klaviyo profiles, and only 150 out of all of those who had engaged with their emails in the past 30 days before working with us. So here's an image of the list size. Here are the deliverability metrics that I already went through. And like I said, the revenue was pretty much zero. You can see it here. Then after we had rewarmed the list and worked with them for a little bit over a month, or I guess like almost 2 months at that point, we cleaned their list of old and unengaged profiles. We went from bad deliverability to the highest possible ranking on Gmail, which we use as a major deliverability KPI, and we are tracking this with Google Postmaster. If you want to know more about that, let me know. I'm going to be happy to explain and happy to help you set it up. And we had started generating significant revenue with email marketing. Now, the numbers at this point, we were now sending to 180-day engaged segment with no deliverability issues. So the list size at this point was pretty much 10,000 recipients per campaign. And then we just kept broadening up from there slowly and gradually each week to keep the email ramp up going and re-engaging these old profiles. And here I'm going to be showing you what the email deliverability metrics look like at this point. And 2 notes here. So like I said, the spam rate is still a little bit higher than we want it to be. Same for the unsubscribe rate. We would want this to be like below 0.5 at least. Usually even 0.3 is like a good benchmark to be below at. And then spam complaint rate would be like 0.01, 0.03, something like that is like the optimal range. So these were still a little bit higher than optimal, but the reason is that we kept sending these re-engagement campaigns to these old profiles who had basically never received emails in like 6 to 12 months. And we just wanted to go through the list, try to re-engage all of those and then clean those out from the list. So we kind of like wanted them to actually say that, okay, I'm not interested anymore. So then we can clean them away and then we can focus on the engaged profiles and keep the deliverability healthy from that point on. So it was like a necessary evil to go through at this point to make sure that the list is getting clean and then we can maintain the healthy domain reputation from that point on. And then the second note, click rates were inflated. Yeah, like this is not a realistic metric for click rates. You shouldn't be expecting these kinds of click rates if you have a big list or sending broad campaigns. But these were inflated at the moment because of the ongoing bot click attack that was happening on almost all Klaviyo accounts at the time in 2024. So if you want to have more information about this, again, please send me a message. I'm going to be happy to talk about it. And email revenue at this point was $30,000 in the last 30 days. And then in the last 7 days only, because we had been able to keep the ramp up of volume going and build more of the setup and open up the segments more, we were already at $17,000 in the last 7 days. So just going up and up and up all the time. And from this point on, we just kept rising the revenue because we were building more flows and sending more campaigns to bigger segments. And now let's actually get into the strategy with step-by-step structure that we followed in this client's case to heal the domain reputation. I'm going to be sharing every single thing we did with images, with explanations on how you can set it up. So you can pretty much just replicate the strategy for yourself and get the same results and fix your deliverability in case you're experiencing something similar at the moment. So step one, we turned off all their existing email flows. And this sounds weird. Why would we do that? Let me explain. So we recreated the first 2 welcome emails. So we turned off everything else, and then we recreated the first 2 welcome emails. The reason is because everything was just landing in spam at this point, and this was leading to a vicious cycle of low engagement, which hurt deliverability, which in turn kept the engagement low. So the only thing we can do at this point is to kind of like artificially get people into those emails where they're going to be opening them. So we're going to be creating this virtuous cycle instead, where we're getting higher open rates, which is increasing our domain reputation, which is in turn also getting more people to open them. And then we were eventually getting to higher deliverability. So the first welcome email we sent was sent to everyone who signed up. And the second one was only for those who opened the first email. And this was done exactly because it maximized the positive engagement metrics for these emails. So here's how the structure looked like in Klaviyo. We have the first welcome email here. We are waiting 2 days, and then after that we have a conditional split. If somebody has opened the first email, then they're going to be receiving the second one as well, because they're more likely to open this one, which is going to boost our engagement metrics. And then if they didn't open this one, we're not going to be sending the second one to them either. They're just going to be exiting the flow, because then we don't want to get these people who are unengaged to receive these emails, because it's going to hurt our deliverability again. So that's step one. Step two, we turn on double opt-in. And to be frank, we almost always advise against this, but when the deliverability is as bad as it is in this case, it was the only way to ensure our first welcome emails get open. So at the start, even the double opt-in confirmation email that I'm going to be explaining to you below was landing in spam. And thus, we only got a low volume of traffic into our welcome flow, which slowed down this growth, but ensured high open rates in the first welcome email. And then over time, as the deliverability increased, this confirm your subscription email started landing in the inbox, and then people started receiving our welcome emails at a higher volume. And yeah, here's an example. So basically, double opt-in email is just something that when somebody signs up to your list from the pop-up on your website, they're not going to be going straight into your welcome flow, but they first receive this automated, simple email that asks them to confirm their subscription. And if they press it, then they're going to be receiving the welcome email and getting to become a subscriber in your list. But if they don't press this, then they're not going to become a subscriber. So they need to double confirm, so we are able to make sure that we're only getting the most engaged people into the list. All right. Step three, we moved away from image-only emails to text-based. So we usually design image emails, but in this context, we switched into creating our emails with Klaviyo Editor to ensure the text-to-image ratio is higher, and then emails are less likely to be considered spam. So the second welcome email was a plain text email with no design at all, and those usually get delivered even better than the designed emails. So here's an example, like when you're creating this plain text email, you don't have any design, you don't have any images, you just like, this is an image from the Klaviyo plain text editor. You just write the email here, you add the links if you want to, and then you send it, and then it looks exactly like a person sent you an email, normally through Gmail or something, instead of having this marketing email with this design format and logos and images and whatnot. So yeah, this is something that if you have a bad deliverability, you might want to send more text-based emails, because that's going to be helping you your inbox placement, helping you land more into the inbox. And then once you actually get the deliverability higher, you can get back to sending designed emails as well. Step 4, we implemented a deliverability footer, and I'm going to be explaining to you what it means right now. So to increase the text-to-image ratio further, we created a long footer with relevant content about the brand, our privacy policy, and other similar information. And this footer is only implemented into the designed emails, so not into the text-based, of course, but into the designed emails at the bottom of the email. We also added whitelisting instructions to our footer here to get people to mark our emails as important, which then helps them stay out of the spam in the future. So let me show you an example of this deliverability footer here. So there's follow us, then there's the social media links, and then after that we have a long copy of the brand, what they are doing, their privacy policy, other information about like legal stuff, regulatory stuff. And then at the bottom, this is the whitelisting instructions. So thank you for being a part of that brand. And then to make sure you keep getting our emails in your inbox, you can mark this email as important, whitelist our email, here's a link to the instructions, and then reply to this email with the subject line, keep me posted. Because if somebody, first of all, responds to your email, they're going to be automatically receiving your emails into the main inbox after that, or at least not into spam, most likely. It's not automatic, but it's much more likely because it signals to the inbox providers that this is someone you want to engage with. Same thing if you mark their email as important, then they're going to be giving these emails to your inbox more likely in the future because you already given them the signal that you want to receive these. And then if you whitelist it, you can create like this filter in Gmail, and then it automatically forces these emails to go to inbox, whatever the content is. So if somebody does even one of these steps here, they're much more likely to receive our emails in the inbox instead of the spam. And this was a really big part of the strategy here for us to fix the deliverability for this brand. And then at the bottom, just this normal unsubscribe link section. All right, step 5. We added the same kind of whitelisting instructions as a secondary CTA in the first welcome email as well. So if somebody was not purchasing from the welcome email, they scrolled a little bit further, then they were getting this. So we're just maximizing the engagement in the future emails. Let me show what it looks like. So this section, never miss a thing. We have one favorite task to make sure you never miss our email only updates or order information. Here's what to do. And then the same steps that I gave you in the last deliverability footer example. All right. Step 6, we implemented a check your spam folder note onto the email pop-up confirmation page. So when somebody signs up to our pop-up, we have this kind of note there. Check your inbox for 10% off, and then check the spam folder too. So if you don't mention it, they just think about like, okay, they're not sending the email or something for some reason. But because we knew that a lot of these emails at this point were landing into spam because we hadn't been able to fix the deliverability yet, we needed to actually prompt people to go get the email from the spam folder, because otherwise, if we didn't mention it, they wouldn't realize to do that because no one really checks their spam folder regularly. Also, one thing to note here is that usually we always recommend having the code straight away in the welcome email. So you wouldn't have to check your inbox to get the code, but you would have the code straight here. So the person would just be able to copy the code and then continue on site, just go straight to purchase. And this minimizes the friction, maximizes the smooth customer experience, and then also maximizes our conversions. But in this case, again, because this is a really bad deliverability situation for this client, we needed to kind of artificially boost the open rate so we can fix the deliverability here. So that's why we temporarily changed the structure to this. So we forced them to go to the email, we forced them to check their spam folder, and then once we have fixed the deliverability, we then changed to the structure where we have the code straight here. So yeah, this is something to keep in mind. This is just context dependent. You wouldn't be doing this if you have a healed normal domain reputation, but in this case, it was necessary. A necessary step in the whole strategy here to fix the deliverability. Step 7, we started sending warm-up campaigns every 2 days. So once the welcome email started getting opens and clicks, the size of our 30-day engaged segments started to rise quickly. And at first, we had sent had to send our campaigns to only 150 people because they were the only engaged profiles on the list, and the only ones who were actually receiving the emails in their inbox and not to the spam folder. And then we just kept sending every 2 days, increasing the number of recipients on each send. So basically, every time we got more openers into the email we sent, then the engaged segment size increased to, like from 150 to 200 people. Then the next time we were able to send to all of those, and then over time it kept compounding, and the size of the segment kept rising more and more quickly as well. And then eventually we got from 150 to 500 people, then to 1,000 people, 5,000 people, and then to 10,000 people, and then gradually even beyond that. But yeah, this is something that you need to do gradually. But once the virtuous cycle of healing your domain reputation starts to pick up, this is just like the pace is increasing here. So at the start, it was really slow to get even from 150 to 500 people. But then from that point on, it started to rise really quickly. And then a pro tip here. You don't need to create like a new email every 2 days, but instead you can save time by creating a new campaign once or twice, and you can recycle the same campaigns we first created only for those 150 engaged profiles, and send, we use them again when the engaged segment size had risen a little bit. Then we were able to send this same email that we used to send only for these people to then thousands of profiles, and then we just excluded the initial people who received it at the start. So then we were able to reuse the same emails, repurpose them all over again, and keep the warm-up going like this without having to create new email every single time. And then here are some of the rewarm campaign metrics to go for. So at first, because it was just the starting point was so bad, we were shooting for at least 25 to 30% open rates, which is still really low. Like normally you would never want to have these low open rates. You always want them to be like above 35 or usually above 40 at least. However, in this case, we needed to start from here because the starting point was only like 5% open rates. And then as long as we reached these numbers here, we were good to expand the segment size to the following sense. And then once the domain health normalized, we then started shooting for at least 45 to 50% while still increasing the segment size on each send. And then how it started. So here only 150 people, receiving the email, 49 openers, 29% open rate, and then click rates. Yeah, well, this was due to the inflated click rates, like I mentioned. And then how it's going. Now later on, we had at this point, we had, well, the image is bad here, but 48% open rate, 3,000 recipients, and then click rates also like around the same range here. So we just kept getting the open rates higher, kept getting the segment size bigger, and so on. Step 8. Once we had done everything to basically heal the domain reputation, get these warm-up campaigns and ramp-up campaigns going, and increase the segment size to, like 10,000 profiles or so. At this point, the domain reputation started to be pretty healed, and it was almost on the highest level already. So then we finally were able to start creating the other core email flows back to the setup. So not just relying on the first 2 welcome emails, but actually creating all of the lifecycle email flows that we usually create. So here's like an outline of the structure that we create. There's like welcome, post-purchase, upsells, post-purchase thank you emails, post-purchase educational flows, review flows, site abandonment flows, cart abandonment flows, checkout abandonment flows, browse abandonment flows, win-back flows, sunset flows. So there's all kinds of flows. So basically, we built out the whole core email lifecycle automation setup for them, containing more than 50 emails, using these internal services for as a starting point. And like I said, this is something that comes only after you have already healed the domain reputation. You can't put all of these live straight away, because then it's going to hurt the deliverability again and then push you back on to where you started from. But once we had healed, we were gradually able to start building these out. And we did it in a way that we, first of all, only turned on the most engaged flows by default. So basically, welcome flow is always really high open rate, really high click rate flow, because people are just signing up to the list and receiving the code and everything there. So we built that out further. Then we built out, the abandonment flows like checkout and cart abandonment flows, because those are usually high engagement flows as well. And then we built out like post-purchase thank you flows, because everyone almost always opens those. So it's again like a good way to get these artificially high open rates from those emails, and then getting leverage from those to heal domain reputation. And then over time, as it was healed fully, we were able to build out all of the other flows as well, like re-engagement, like win-back flows, sunset flows, and stuff like that. And this whole setup has an average open rate of 45 to 60% per email. All right, that's it. That's the whole guide, and you can just follow that as you wish. My name is Werner Brander. I'm the CEO and founder of GrowTrigger. We're the #1 Klaviyo partner in Finland, specializing in retention marketing for Shopify brands. And together with my team, we've helped over 50 e-commerce brands grow profitably while generating 35 to 55% of their total revenue through email marketing. Here's my email address. Here's my LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube profiles. Whenever you have any questions about email or retention marketing in general, or if you want to learn about my educational content I'm sharing on a weekly basis on these channels, just follow me on these channels. Shoot me an email whenever you feel like it. I'm happy to help you there. And so by simply following these strategies in this video, I guarantee you'll be able to fix your email deliverability and take your email marketing to the next level. So you can just plug and play the exact steps I gave you here. That's everything we did. I'm leaving no secrets behind. So you can just take those, implement them into your own setup, and see your email deliverability soar back to the levels that it's supposed to be at. However, if you have any questions on the strategies I explained here, or if you want to learn more about them, or if you want us to help you implement them, just go and claim your free email consultation and audit with me from the link below. We're going to be rating your email marketing with a score between 0 and 100 and providing a personalized roadmap for improvement. And if you're a great fit, we're going to be discussing how we can help you implement these strategies and set up a plan for ongoing success. And of course, if it's not a fit, I'll happily point you in the right direction. We don't want to work with brands we don't know for a fact that we can help. And we only pick those brands that we actually know that, we definitely can help you. Because that's just win-win for both sides. So go ahead and click the link below to book your free consultation audit today. And I hope to see you there.